Yeah.
Greetings, everybody. So today we have Javed Machikan. I would let him do a brief introduction of who he is for the people.
Hello, everybody. My name is Javed. I know Justin from high school, actually. We both went to press together for a couple of years. And then, then we went separate ways. I moved up on the north side of the country, for those who know Trinidad. And then I went to HelpYou College, got a scholarship, and then I went to the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. I did internship over there during COVID. And then I came back to the country, worked here a bit and volunteered in the Red Cross for some bit. And then I went to Australia for 2 years, and during this time I was writing my steps. I finally actually found out that I passed step 3
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
good,
So
good, yeah, great,
yeah,
great,
very,
great.
very grateful.
Next step, last one.
So I just kind of taken my journey down the step route now on the US journey.
Okay, and you just applied to residency, right?
Yeah, this is my first time applying to the match, and I thankfully got accepted to a general surgery position. It's a preliminary general surgery position, but hopefully being able to jump onto a categorical afterwards.
Okay, and which hospital you'll be in?
Danbury in Connecticut.
Okay, cool.
I didn't know Danbury was a place. I never heard of it until now, but
Should be fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's just start walk us through what it was like going through the match process and then doing again into a prelim position. I think you soaped as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just walk us through what that was like.
Well, I didn't really know much about the whole match process. I just know I had to get steps done. So I did step 1 and I did step 2. And while I was doing step 2, I was going through the process of applying to the match. I had 0 US clinical experience. So it was a little bit more difficult, I think, in terms of my application. And then I didn't really know anybody who went through the process. So everything I learned was from Reddit and from YouTube and from hoping and scouring around the internet where I could get some information. So the match for me was pretty stressful. I think I kind of just played by ear and I learned from all the mistakes that I made. And that was it. Then I essentially just went through the process on my own. It was a lot more costly than I expected, which is something that I think is important for people to understand who are going down the US route. And then there's a lot of things that you need to make sure that you're on top of, because you could easily not be eligible to match. I almost actually missed out on the eligibility pathways. And one of my best friends who's in the process with me actually had to remind me that that was something important. And then, but once we got through that whole hurdle of actually getting the documentation and the logistics through the week itself, I did not realize how stressful match week is. You know how some people will tell you, yeah, it's a stressful process. Nobody could prepare you for how it actually feels. Like
the emotional stress of it,
yeah, exactly. Like, you know what it is. So it's an emotional roller coaster. I was grateful to have somebody else in the same process with me, but nobody does actually prepare you for the emotional gravity that is actually pull on you.
Okay. Let me ask this. You have experience of working as a doctor in different parts of the world, right? You were in Australia, I think you were in Ireland for a little bit.
Yeah.
Why the US? Why are you choosing to come to the US?
Well,
honest. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that the honest answer is pretty blunt in terms of I knew for a long time that surgery was what I wanted to do. And unfortunately, a lot of times people coming from our parts of the world, Caribbean places, and as Trinidadian citizens, a lot of doors get closed on you because of your citizenship. And I didn't know that when I first started medicine. And I think it's a bit disheartening. I applied for the surgical program in Ireland and I got enough points. And because of the European Union law, I did not get a spot in the program.
Okay.
I applied in Australia to get onto the program. Well, I tried to apply to the program in Australia, and I was told that I was ineligible to apply because I was not a permanent resident or a citizen. So because of those 2 places, I realized that my citizenship would play a significant role.
Right.
So I looked to the place where I think they set the standard in terms of the rigorousness of training their junior doctors, and they set a certain standard. And I think a lot of their system is based on meritocracy. Yes, there's an element of someone's citizenship in terms of how much it plays towards matching and different things like that, but it really is that you have to be at a certain standard for them to accept you for a specialty. It is not is not just based on where you're born or who you are or how you look. I think it's based on what you bring and your level of dedication. And that's why I said that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be pushed through the paces to get to that level.
Right. That's interesting though. I didn't know that. So is it more difficult to get into like Ireland programs and Australian programs than it is to get into the US?
No, I think there's challenges to every system, right? But I think there's I have friends in the Irish system who, they persevered for years and then they've been finally accepted onto a training program. But a lot of times they've had to accept jobs in rural parts of the countries when they might be, at the top level of the class. Whereas people with European Union passports, they will be given the opportunity to be in the urban centers or the first choice hospitals, for lack of a better word. So it is easier in some sense in that maybe you don't have to do the same amount of to get into Ireland, for example, you don't have to do the same amount of exams. You still have to do exams, and by no means am I saying you don't have to work hard. I'm just saying that sometimes different things play a role in terms of the selection process.
Right, right. Let's just go into this one because not much people talk about this. What was the SOAP process like when you did it?
So the SOAP process was very, very stressful.
Right.
Obviously on the Monday, that you didn't match, which I kind of expected because, as I said, I had 0 US clinical experience and I knew I was going to be fighting in SOAP. When they actually start saying that, programs could you look at the 40 programs to apply to, that is a pretty stressful process. So what I did before, because I knew I was going to SOAP, is I reached out to loads of program directors because you're not allowed to apply to programs during SOAP. Like, you're not allowed to reach out to people.
Right.
But before SOAP, everybody is free game. What I did was I looked at all the statistics from the years before in terms of who had programs unfilled in general surgery for the past couple of years and who went through the SOAP process. And I just emailed all of those program directors and I just reached out to them. And then when the SOAP week actually started, I obviously didn't reach out to anybody anymore because that's illegal.
Right.
And I got one interview.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, I got one interview, and that one interview, thankfully, the people accepted me and offered me
Same
a
program.
spot.
What was the interview like?
The interview was actually pretty. It was 15 to 20 minutes.
Was it just a phone call, or did they do a Zoom meeting, or what was it?
Yeah, it was a Zoom meeting, and it was about 15 to 20 minutes long. 2 program directors, and it was good. I think it was. They asked me honestly why you want to do this and why you're in the SOAP, what you did wrong. And I think once you're honest with somebody and you show the true reasons as to why you're doing something, I think that shines through.
Yeah. So did they ask you why you didn't get in, why you think you didn't get into a position? Is that one of the questions?
Yeah, that was one of the questions.
Okay. And how you answered that?
Well, because of the places I've practiced medicine, Ireland, Australia, Trinidad, and Vietnam, I explained that what was important to me is international experience and learning from international collaborators. I wanted to be able to bring diversity and a different perspective to the United States when I inevitably decided to specialize there. And I feel like now I've reached that position in terms of gathering all these skills. But obviously, in gathering all these skills, I haven't had time to go and work and seek electives in the United States. And I wrote my exams later than most US medical graduates would.
Right.
But that doesn't take away from the perspectives that I would be able to offer to the surgeons there and to the staff there, and most importantly to the patients there.
Okay. So I know you said you worked in several places. Where was your favorite place to work so far?
The best place I've ever worked, hands down, is Australia.
Really?
That place is, words cannot explain how perfect that place is. I know I'm probably gonna get some stick for this from people from Ireland or from Trinidad or from America, but that place, the way they run, the people, the way they care for everybody else, I just think is I don't know. I can't express how much how grateful I was for that opportunity.
Is it more of a culture thing, like how the people are, or was it more a systematic thing that made it, what it was?
I think that's a very good question. I think it's both. I think as a system, they are heavily funded on the west coast of Australia. Their state is rich in resources, and they could fund a lot of things that people where these resources are less good are unable to do so.
Right.
But they have a culture, like they they highlight work-life balance. I used to try to take extra shifts because they would encourage doctors to only work 40 hours a week.
Mm,
So I used to have to ask if I could please work this extra shift. So
right.
it's just a different mindset.
Okay. 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 And why surgery for you?
Like everybody who asks me this question, I don't know if I should answer it like an interview question or how I really.
Real.
Well, I'll answer it. I'll
Raw.
answer it. I'll answer it how I answered it when the people in the soap interview asked me, and it's not. I don't think it's the most stereotypical answer, but it's what I thought rang true for me. As an international person and doing a few different things, I think there's a lot of times in life where it could become very hectic, very stressful. There's so many things going on and so many things happening, and your mind could just become very chaotic. For me, when I go in an operating room, all that just stops. All the noise, all the chaos, everything just comes to this one point where
It's kind of zen.
this
Mhm.
exactly
Right.
is
Just
that's
discuss.
peace for me. So yeah, it's so for me that's one of the I'm very grateful to have found something that I truly love,
Mm,
and that's why I wanted it.
interesting. I don't think I've heard anybody describe being in the operating room like that before. I know some, like I have some friends, they would say, yeah, I like being in the operating room, but I've never heard somebody say it's like a zen experience for them.
It's nice. They say lucky is the man who finds what he loves to do, and I feel like I am very lucky.
Yeah. Good. Okay. And what is your intentions for your future? Like, where do you see yourself 5, 10 years?
Well,
Not 5, because you're gonna
my
get
long
surgery, so 10 years. Yeah.
my long-term goal is that I have been blessed, I think, with a lot of opportunities in terms of being able to see different perspectives and being able to learn a lot. My ultimate goal would be to specialize in robotic surgery and take every single thing I've learned, not just in the act of the robotics or the surgery, but also from these different perspectives and then bring it back home. My ultimate intention is to give back to my people. I feel like I don't see the reason why we as a people need to seek healthcare from outside. I don't understand it. I think that we have bred very capable individuals at home, and we should be able to provide for our people. And that is my goal. I just want to be able to make things better. And I think
Yeah.
that's what the end goal is for me.
And home being Trinidad and Tobago, just to be clarified.
Yeah,
wherever
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
So to Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of giving back to Trinidad and Tobago, other than specializing, do you have any vision of what you would want to do?
I think other than specializing, I would like to be involved at a national level in terms of helping people develop policies. My 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 love is surgery, but I think that translates and that trickles down to every single aspect of medicine. I think we could all work together to be able to develop policies that help doctors learn, help doctors grow, help us, become better educated, and in so doing, then provide better care for our patients and just uplift everybody around us.
Right.
What I want Trinidad to be a healthcare destination
For
for
the
the Caribbean,
Caribbean.
for the entire region.
Wow. Yeah. I think that could be a good goal. Because we have, as you said, we've bred a lot of capable and educated people. I think anyway, you see Trinidadians, they do very well. And they're usually
Yeah.
at the top of their field. Okay. What would you say so far in your journey has been your proudest moment?
Proudest moment.
Proudest moment.
So my proudest moment, I think, would have been while I was in university.
Mhm.
As I was in the Royal College of Surgeons. You knew me when we were in secondary school. I
Right.
was not the most outspoken person. I was kind of shy. I would only stick to one or two people. I didn't really have that sense of confidence in me. And I think at some part along the journey, I was able to run for the Students' Union president in RCSI, and thank God I was successful in it. And in that moment, then during that year, I had to advocate for a lot of for the student body,
Right.
and I had to build up my confidence and learn how to stand up to people who might be in authority to show that stand up for the things that's right.
Right.
And I think that's my proudest moment, in that I did my best in that role to be able to advocate for the things that I believed was right.
Right. And on the flip side, what would you say has been your most difficult moment so far that you've had to deal with?
I think the most difficult moment I've had so far was when I was rejected from the core surgical training program in Ireland. So as I mentioned, I I had that year I spent trying to do research, trying to do audits. I studied for the MRCS. I made connections with surgeons. I practiced interviews, and to get the points and then to not be given the position, I took that very, very personally. I took that as a failure in myself, and that I was unable to reach the bar of what I needed to do to be able to get accepted. And I think that was something that took a while to be able to
Yeah.
prove to myself that exactly it prove to myself that I could hopefully do it.
Yeah. And the thing is, because most people, even one of the guys I spoke to before, and I think most people don't hear this side, most people that end up being successful, they fail so many times before, but you just don't really hear about it. Like, I wouldn't have
Exactly.
known that you had to go through that until, like, you
Yeah.
shared right now.
I
But
think it's nice that junior doctors do that, though. I think it's everybody's looking from outside, especially when, because look at you in the States. I think everybody see that as a very a pinnacle of success to be on a residency program in the
Yeah.
States, but nobody really knows the sacrifices and the failures that go into it.
how many times you try, and what would you say kept you going in that tough moment, applying to that, doing all of that, not getting in, to try again, because you tried in Australia as well, right?
Yeah. I think again it's just that feeling that I get from surgery, and that love and that passion that I have from it. When I got rejected, I actually got this tattoo.
Okay.
It's a
What's this?
scalpel.
Okay.
It's a scalpel, and I mean, everybody says cheesy, but this
is,
this is my reminder to me that this is my reminder to me that every time I see this, I know what this means to me. I know that studying late nights for STEP, I know where that's gonna get me, and I know that you have to put in the work to get where you want to be. There's no substitute for hard work.
Right, fair. And let's see if we could wrap it. Any advice for younger Javed Machikan? What would you have to, or a younger medical student, or somebody that's planning to go into medical school?
Yeah, I think well, if you're thinking of doing the United States medical license exam, I think the best advice I have for you is to just do it. Just book the exam and do it, because far too often you say you're gonna do it and you dilly-dally and you postpone things and this happens, and just book the exam and do it. And that's what a surgeon told me, and that's the best advice I've gotten in a long time. So I think from a US point of view, like a medical licensing exam, that's my best advice. But in terms of my best advice to somebody who is looking to pursue this journey in the long run, I think just be aware that this is not about money. It is not about money. If you wanted money, there's so much better things you could do.
Right.
It's a long, hard work, and you have to truly love what you do to be able to succeed.
Right. Fair. I think we could wrap on that one.
All right, good.